Hi everyone, in this video I am going to explain about floral parts and estivation. We already discussed in previous video, flower shows four important we already discussed in previous video, flower shows four important floral wholes or parts such as calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of floral parts. See in the peak, the outermost layer is calyx, below to that corolla, below to that androecium, and the very innermost layer is gynoecium. Calyx. The calyx is the outermost whole. The units of calyx are called sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like, and protect the flower in the bud stage. The calyx may be gamosepalous, which means united sepals, or polysepalous, which means individual or free sepals. The sepal which lies in line with the mother axis is called odd sepal. Odd sepal is either anterior or posterior. Odd sepal is anterior in Leguminaceae family plants, posterior in Petunia plant. Let's see the diagrammatic representation. The fused sepals condition is called gamosepalous condition. The free or individual sepals condition is called polysepalous condition. Based on the duration, calyx classified into three different types. Caducous calyx, falling down immediately after opening of flower. Example, poppy. Deciduous calyx. In this type, calyx falling down at the time of withering of flower. Example, mustard. Persistent calyx. In this, calyx are sepals persisting in the fruit. Example, rose. Persistent calyx again classified into two types, acrescent calyx and marquescent calyx. Acrescent calyx, it grows along with the fruit. Marquescent. In this type, calyx remains small and dried up, form before being shed. Example, guava. Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are usually brightly colored to attract insects for pollination. Like calyx, corolla may also be gamopetalous, which means petals are united, or polypetalous, which means petals are free or individual. The shape and color of corolla differ greatly in plants. Corolla may be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped, or wheel-shaped. Let's see in the peak, the individual or free petals are called polypetalous condition. The fused petals are called gamopetalous condition. Check the diagrams carefully. Estivation. The mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a floral bud with respect to the other members of same whole or layer is known as estivation. The estivations are of four types such as valvate estivation, twisted estivation, imbricate estivation and vexillary estivation. Number 1. Valvate estivation. In this type, sepals or petals in a whole just touch one another at the margin without any overlapping. Example, calotropis and mustard. See the diagrammatic representation. In that also, sepal or petal just contact with each other without any overlaps. See this diagram carefully. The second one, twisted estivation. In this type, one margin of the sepal or petal overlaps that of the next sepal or petal in the flower in a regular manner called twisted estivation. Examples, hibiscus or China rose, lady's finger and cotton. Let's see the diagrammatic representation. In the peak also, one end of sepal or petal overlapping the end of its next sepal or petal in a regular manner in the flower. The next one, imbricate aestivation. In this type, one margin of the appendage, either sepal or petal, overlaps that of the next in the flower, not in a particular direction, which means in irregular manner. Example, cassia and gulmohar. Let's see in the diagrammatic representation. Sepal or petal, margins or ends overlapping each other but not in a particular direction. Those are appears in irregular manner. See the diagram carefully. The very last type is vexillary or papillonoecious aestivation. In this type, there are 5 petals. In those, the largest one is called standard petal. It overlaps the 2 lateral petals called wing petals, which in turn overlap the 2 smallest anterior keel petals. This type of aestivation is known as vexillary or papillonoecious aestivation. Examples: pea, bean and other leguminosae or papillonaceae or fabaceae family plants. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of vexillary aestivation. In the peak, the large standard petal overlapping the 2 lateral wing petals. These 2 lateral wing petals overlapping the 2 fused keel petals. Androecium. Androecium is male reproductive organ of flower and it consists of one or more stamens. Stamen is a part of flower which produces pollen or pollen grains. Each stamen is made up of a stalk-like filament and a knob-like anther. These two are connected by connective. Usually, each anther has 2 lobes. It is called diathecous anther. Example, most of the plants. In some plants, anther has only one lobe. It is known as monothecous anther. Example, hibiscus or China rose and Malvaceae family plants. Anther is usually bilobed and each lobe has 2 chambers called pollen sacs. The pollen grains are produced in pollen sacs. A sterile stamen which is unable to produce pollen grains is called staminode. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of stamen. The stalk-like structure of stamen is called filament. The knob-like structure of stamen is called anther. Classification of stamens based on the fusion. The very first one, addition of stamens. Fusion of stamens with other floral parts called addition of stamens. It is of 3 types such as epipetalous condition, epiphyllous condition and gynandrous condition. Very first one, epipetalous condition. In this condition, stamens are fused to petals. Example, Solanaceae family plants, Solanum, brinjal and Asimum. Epiphyllous condition. In this condition, stamens are fused to perianth. Example, onion, asphodelus and lily. The last type is gynandrous condition. In this condition, stamens are attached to carpels, either throughout their whole length or by their anthers only. Example, the plant Calotropis. The second aspect of classification of stamens is based on cohesion of stamens. Cohesion of stamens in the sense fusion of stamens among themselves. This condition again classified into 6 different types. The very first one, polyandrous condition. In this condition, stamens are free. Example, papaya. The second one, monodelephous condition. In this condition, stamens are fused by means of their filaments into one bundle. Example, China rose, Althea. Third one, didelephous condition. In this condition, filaments are fused into 2 bundles and the anther remains free. Example, Fabaceae family plants, P. Fourth one, Polydelphous condition. In this condition, filaments are united into more than two bundles, but anthers remains free. Example, lemon, orange and other citrus plants. Fifth one, syngenesious condition. In this condition, stamens are fused by anthers only, but filaments are free. Example, suncus. Sixth one, synandrous condition. In this condition, all the stamens are united by both their anthers as well as filaments. Example, Cucurbitaceae family plants like Cucumis and Cucurbita. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of cohesion of stamens. In Monodelphous, all filaments are fused into one bundle, anthers are free. In Didelphous, all filaments are fused into two bundles, anthers are free. In Polydelphous, all filaments are fused into many bundles, anthers are free. In syngenesious condition, all filaments are free but anthers fused. In synandrous, anthers as well as filaments fused. Length of filament. On this aspect, stamens are classified into four different types. The very first one, didynamous condition. In this condition, flower contains four stamens. Out of four stamens, two are long and two are short filamented stamens. Example, ocimum. The second one, tetradynamous condition. In this condition, stamens are six. Among those, four are long and two are short. Example, mustard. Third one, inserted condition. In this condition, stamens are shorter than the corolla of flower. Example, ixora, musanda. Fourth one, exerted condition. In this condition, stamens protrude out of the corolla of flower are termed as exerted condition. Example, passion flower. The next aspect of classification of stamens based on attachment of filament to the anther. Here, stamens are four different types: dorsifixed stamens, basifixed stamens, adnate stamens, versatile stamens. The very first one, dorsifixed stamens. In this type, the filament is firmly fixed to the back of the anther. Example, bauhinia. Second one, basifixed. In this type, the filament is fixed to the base of the anther. Example, mustard. Third one, adnate condition. In this condition, filament joins throughout the length of the anther. Example, ranunculus, magnolia, nymphea. Fourth one, versatile condition. In this condition, the filament is attached to the back of the anther and the anther can swing freely. Example, grasses. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of attachment of anthers to the filament. See how attachment of filament to the anther in basifixed, adnate, dorsifixed and versatile stamens. See those diagrams carefully for your better understanding. The very next topic is dehiscence of anther. Anther dehisces are breakdown into five different types. Number one, longitudinal dehiscence seen in capsella. Number two, transverse dehiscence seen in lady's finger, malva, aldea. Number three, valvular dehiscence seen in barberry plant, porous dehiscence seen in tomato, and the last one, irregular dehiscence generally seen in the plant Najas, Gynoecium. Gynoecium is female reproductive organ of flower which is made up of one or more carpels. Gynoecium consists of swollen ovary, stalk-like style and terminal receptive part called stigma. The first part of gynoecium is ovary. Ovary contains carpels, locules and ovules. Number 1. Carpels. It is a structural unit of a compound pistil which is leaf-like and bears ovules at its margin. When gynoecium bears only one carpel, it is called monocarpellary. If gynoecium contains two carpels, called bicarpellary. If three carpels, called tricarpellary. If more than three carpels, that is called polycarpellary ovary. Cohesion of carpels. Number 1, apocarpus. In this type, carpels are free. Example, ranunculus, rose and lotus. Syncarpus. In this condition, carpels are more than two and fused with each other. Example, most of the plants like mustard, tomato. Locules. Ovary has locules and may be unilocular or bilocular or trilocular or tetralocular or multilocular. Ovules. Each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion-like structure called placenta. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of gynoecium, which contains swollen ovary, stalk-like style and receptive stigma. The next topic is placentation. The arrangement of ovules on placenta within the ovary is called placentation. Placentation is of 5 different types. Number 1, marginal placentation. Number 2, axial or central placentation. Number 3, parietal placentation. Number 4, free central or axial placentation. And number 5, basal placentation. Number 1, marginal placentation. It is found in monocarpellary gynoecium, in which placenta developing along the junction of the two margins of the carpel on which one or two alternate rows of ovules occurs. Example, P, cassia and acacia. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of marginal placentation. So it is monocarpellary ovary. On this how ovules are arranged, all those things, observe carefully. The next type of placentation is axial or central placentation. It is found in Syncarpus pistils. The ovary is partitioned into two or more chambers. Placenta occur in the central region where the septa meet, so that on axial column bearing ovules is formed. Example, potato, tomato, China rose and lemon. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of central or axial placentation. See, in the center placenta is present and that ovules are present. For better understanding, you observe this diagram carefully. The third one, parietal placentation. In this type, ovary is one chambered. Two or more longitudinal placenta develop along the wall of a syncarpus pistil. The number of placenta correspond to the number of fusing carpels. Example, radish, papaya. Parietal placentation is found in the family Cruciferae, in which a false septum called repulum develops between the two parietal placentae, resulting the ovary becomes bilocular. Example, mustard and argemone. See the diagrammatic representation of parietal placentation, how ovules are arranged on the walls of ovary. See this diagram carefully. The next type of placentation is free central or free axial placentation. In this type, the pistil is polycarpellary and syncarpus, but the ovary is unilocular. The ovules are born around a central column which is not connected with the ovary wall by any septum. Example, dianthus and primrose. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of free central or free axial placentation. In this, placenta is present in the middle, ovules are present, but it doesn't contain any chambers because it is unilocular. See this diagram carefully. The fifth type of placentation is basal placentation. In this type, ovary is unilocular and the placenta develops at the base of ovary on thalamus and bears a single ovule. Remember, single ovule containing placentation is basal placentation. Example, sunflower and marigold. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of basal placentation. In this type, ovary is unilocular and it contains single ovule at the base of ovary. That's why it is called basal placentation. The second part of gynoecium is called style. Style is stalk-like part of gynoecium. On the basis of origin, style is of three types. Number 1, terminal. In this type, style originates from tip of the ovary. Example, petunia. Second one, lateral. In this type, style arising from side of ovary. Example, mango. Third one, gynobasic. In this type, style arising from mid-basal part of ovary. Example, salvia and ocimum. The third important part of gynoecium is stigma. Stigma is a part of gynoecium which receives pollen grains. It is of following types. Stigma may be capitate or discoid or plumose or bifid or knob-like or drum-shaped or dumbbell-shaped or dome-shaped or sticky or linear or radiate hood-like manner. We have to remember some important points on flower. Those are thalamus. Thalamus is the swollen and broadened part of flower which lies at the tip of pedicel and bears floral organs. It is similar to a dwarf shoot in which growth is definite and the internodes are very short. Staminodes. Sterile and undeveloped stamens are known as staminodes. Mother axis. The shoot on which the flower is born is called mother axis. The side of the mother axis is posterior. A regular flower. When the different parts of each series of a flower are similar in size, shape, color and origin, then the flower is known as a regular flower. Irregular flower. When a flower shows any irregularity in any types of its floral organs, whether in size or shape or color or origin, is termed as irregular flower. The study of flowers is called anthology. Nilambo nucifera, which is commonly called lotus, is national flower of India. The longest style takes place in maize or gia maize. In some plants, like agave, flowers are modified into fleshy buds or bulbils, which helps in vegetative reproduction. Three types of flowers are found in mango and cashew nut. These flowers are monoecious, staminate, and pistillate flowers. They are called polygamous. Next one, epicalyx. It is a whole of 5 to 8 bracteoles outside to the calyx, which are green sepals like floral organs. They provide protection to the other floral organs. These are seen in Malvaceae and Rosaceae family plants. Perianth. When there is a no distinction of sepals and petals, which means there is no differentiation between sepals and petals, this condition is called perianth. The units of perianth are called tepals. Saploid. When the perianth are green and as sepal-like, condition called saploid condition. Example, asphodilus. Petaloid. When perianth are colored as petals, called petaloid condition. Example, date palm. Monocarpic plant. The plant which produces flowers and fruits only once in life, called monocarpic plants. Example, annual plants, bamboo. Polycarpic plants. The plants which produces flowers and fruits many times in life, called polycarpic plants. Example, mango and pear. Anthophore. Sometime internode between calyx and corolla becomes elongated and called as anthophore. Example, dianthus. Thalamus or receptacle. It is a swollen and broadened part of flower on which the internodes are condensed. It bears floral organs.